Yes, the time has come. We have finally got the heads on the LS1. You can see them, nice and shiny. So these are our Blackwell Race Engines square port LS1 small bore cylinder head. So what does that basically mean in English? LS1s, as most of you would know, have a cathedral style cylinder head where your 6 litres, so L98s, L77, L76, LS3, so on, have a square port head. Biggest difference between them is the cathedral heads tend to make more power in the low range and the square port is more in the top range. Obviously with a bigger engine, you'll end up with a square port. A lot of people will go the other way around. They put a cathedral on a 6 litre to bring more torque in the bottom. But this whole test was more about how much power can we make out of an LS1 and what options can we give you, the customer, because manifolds on these engines are getting hard to get and they're expensive. So, and look, nothing about this is cheap at the end of the day, but if we can get more value for money, I guess that's the best thing. So by going to these square port style heads, it allows you to put, say, a Harrop or a Magnuson LSA supercharger on your LS1 engine. That's a bonus, right? Or you can put a LS3, L98 inlet manifold on with a 90mm or 100mm throttle body, which is a bonus because getting a better manifold on an LS1, you have to go to a fast. And the fast are like probably 2.5 to 2600. Then you got to buy a throttle body and it runs along, you know. So look, not that the cost is going to be the same when you do this, because let's face it, you got to buy cylinder heads, then you got to buy manifold. There's a lot of stuff you got to buy, but I guess the big thing is that you're doing things in an order where it's modular, so you can continue building up on what you've already got. So you can build a really nice LS1, do this, have a nice 6 litre manifold on, come back later, put a Maggie on top or a Harrop. You just got more options with manifolds with the square port. And in all that testing we've done, everyone's come back, and look, and I've also agreed with this, that the square port is going to hurt bottom end power on the LS1 being a smaller capacity engine. Now, in theory, this is true, but the test has proven otherwise, which I'm actually surprised. I thought it was going to be a bucket of, you know what I'm about to say there, off the bottom, and be a bit of a two-stroke in the top end, but it didn't work out that way. So before I get to the dyno sheet, I'm just going to point out the things that we've had to do to make this work. Pretty straightforward in the grand scheme of things. So exhaust ports are all the same. You just got to port them out to suit the bigger port. Rocker covers are all the same. Rocker gear is different, so it's LS3 6 litre style rocker, so it's got the offset intake rocker, so you do need to purchase rockers, and the rocker bars do come with these heads, and you will need to purchase a 6 litre manifold, and in this case for the test we've used the cheaper Aeroflow throttle body, which has been perfectly fine. Actually, it's actually a nice bit of gear. It comes with a bracket, makes it really easy for doing the throttle. So, and I guess the best part is when you buy these manifolds, if you get it with rails, well, you get a free set of bigger injectors. So there's a lot of positives and negatives to doing it this way. I think it's a lot of positive, because as a customer, they'll come in and they'll get a cam package done, and then they'll come back later and then they'll get a set of heads done. And then I'll come back later and then they'll do an inlet manifold. And in all of that, in the middle of all of that, we've got to put injectors in. So I guess if you go to this straight off the bat, you get a better cylinder head that will run rings around the 241 heads. You get a better manifold, and let's face it, getting 6 litre manifolds, they're kind of like milk at a milk bar these days. They're kind of everywhere. And buying a throttle body, well, they're cheap as you can buy them from anywhere. Like those style throttle bodies are available in Alibaba and Amazon and eBay and God knows where. The market's flooded with 4-bolt throttle bodies these days. So tuning difficulties with them, yes, they're a pain in the butt, but yeah, you can make them work. So, but the result at the end of it is pretty damn amazing, I can tell you that now. So moving on from where we left off on our last video, we've got the BTR Stage 3 version 2 camshaft. And in the previous video to that, we had the Stage 2 camshaft, which we did put a fast manifold on, and it did reap some good benefits. It made 320 odd kilowatts at the wheels, which is great from the manifold, and that's what gave us the idea to do this cylinder head job. But now with the BTR Stage 3 camshaft, they finished off at around 303 kilowatts at the hubs, which is, that's no slouch, stock heads and all that, bit of a freak of an engine, this thing. But you know, we've documented all our testing on this test car from when it was stock to where it is now, and you can see the progression. So whether you want to call it a happy dyno or a happy car, whatever, it's happy no matter what way you look at it. You can see the happiness from the start to where we are now. So either way, whether you agree with the results, what it started with, what it finished with, the gains and differences in the middle are correct. So whether you want to fact check me or whether you want to say we're happy, the dyno's happy, high figures shouldn't make that power, it's too low, or whatever. I don't care about those numbers. They don't mean anything because it's the differences between the two is what is most important. And it should be like that with everywhere you go. The final figure doesn't mean nothing. It's always your comparison between your start figure and your end figure. And what it is in the middle, that's what it is. And if it made 50 kilowatts or 50 horsepower or 100 newton meters of torque, that's what it made. Who cares if it made 500 newton meters? If it makes 100, that's what you're looking at, if that makes sense. So, but anyway, let's have a look at the good stuff. So check it out. 303, 503 newton meters. That was the BTR Stage 3 camshaft with the stock heads. No other changes other than the Blackwell Racing LS1 square port CNC head, and obviously the LS3 manifold, which is absolutely mandatory because let's face it, you're not going to be able to make it run without that. 349 kilowatts, 552 newton meters of torque from an LS1, and that's pretty much all the way to 6,800, which surprised me. I thought it would go a bit higher, but you can see. So peak torque is at 5,600 RPM, holds it, starts the roll off, and it's pretty much done by 6,800. And peak power is at around 6,600 RPM. But as everyone who said, and even myself, it would lose power off the bottom, well, there it is. I ain't lost anything. From 2,200 revs all the way to 3,200, it's the same as the stock heads. Now that is awesome because you know what? Everything from here on is free power, and that is absolutely brilliant. You know, 45 odd kilowatts from that simple heads and camshaft, oh sorry, not camshaft, heads and a manifold and a throttle body to be technical, is nothing to be disappointed in. It's absolutely impressive as, and yeah, like I didn't think it was going to do this. I really didn't think it would do it, and off that you can see it did do it. The best part is now is that we can now go to a BTR Stage 4, Stage 5 camshaft. We can really get into it because with our chamber and the cylinder heads, we've got heaps of piston and valve clearance now with the way it is. It's a small chamber. So, you know, we can kind of do anything we want with this now. So we're in a position now where we can just really throw any camshaft we like at it. And we're going to now because we're going to try and see how far we can push this LS1, you know, with this style of cylinder head on there. And you know, I think it's going to be a good thing and it's going to work out really good. Yes, it's not going to be a cheap exercise, guys, but at the end of the day, if you factor in buying a set of heads and a manifold and a throttle body, and if you're already going to do that, well, the only added cost in this equation would be the difference in the cylinder head price. So not much in the grand scheme of it all. So, but anyway, yeah, look, it's a great result. I know everyone's been hanging to see this one big time, and there's the result. You know, could we get a bit more out of it in the bottom? I don't know. There's a little bit more stuff I can talk to Blackwell about. But I think in the grand scheme of things, that's a really great result. And I think it's going to be a great upgrade path with future builds. And like I said, it opens up the doors for a lot of different camshafts and a lot of different manifolds. So stay tuned. We're going to pretty much next video from here, we're going to jump across to the Stage 4 and Stage 5 BTR camshaft. And let's see what it does, and then from there we'll rip the heads back off this. We'll throw them on the 6 litre, see what it does on that too. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for your patience. It's been a while since I got this video out. We've been absolutely blown away. We actually had to get our apprentice to do this one. We just didn't have the time in the workshop. So young Charlie, our first year apprentice, knocked this whole job out on his own, you know, like with our guidance. He did it, did a great job, didn't mess it up, didn't break any threads. That's a win-win. So, but thanks again, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and we'll talk in the comments as we go. Thanks again. Catch you later. Bye.